everybody, my name is Rabbit, and thank you so very much for joining me for my second episode of my new little Q&A series here on my channel. Although I'm sure that this is still going to morph and evolve a little bit over time as I continue to produce more of these, I think for now I was relatively satisfied with how the first episode came out, so I'm just going to follow that format and keep episode 2 being pretty much similar in that I am going to answer 3 questions that I get commonly asked. So again, just to put it out there, I did mention this at the beginning as well as the end of the previous episode, that if there is something that you would really like to know about me, you have a question that you have seen asked numerous times when you've just been perusing my comments, or I don't know, maybe no one has asked it yet, but you feel like it's something that should be asked, feel free to shoot me an email. You can go ahead and send me a message on Facebook, or you can even just leave a comment down below. All right, so keeping up with the spirit of keeping these relatively brief, let's go ahead and get started with the first question being, Rabbit, what is wrong with your face? And of course, this question, when it's being asked, I don't believe it is meant to be insulting. I think a lot of people are just really curious. Let me take my glasses off. Hopefully there's not like a major glare that's going on with those. But when you look at my face, you can see that there are lots of little dots on it. And so I've had people hypothesizing, are they just weird freckles? Do you have odd birthmarks all over your face? No, it is neither of those things. I actually had chickenpox more than once when I was a child, and I'm not sure why people think that it's impossible to get the chickenpox more than once. If you even go to the website of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and you look where it talks about transmission of the disease, it clearly states that although it's not common, it is absolutely possible for people to contract the chickenpox more than once. So I'm not sure why that rumor has been circulating for so long, but whenever I tell people that, they're like, it's impossible to get it more than once. But I mean, fuck you, it happened to me, so clearly it's not impossible. Basically what ended up happening with me, what I think and what a couple of doctors have also reached in terms of a conclusion, is when I was really young, I had a really compromised immune system. I was just really stressed out as like a 5 and 6-year-old, which sounds a tad bit precocious, but I was always very aware of my surroundings and aware of issues that were going on. For those of you who do follow a couple of my Let's Plays or you have watched them in the past, I've shared this with you guys a few times that I didn't have the best family life. I just had a really interesting mother, and her side of the family, they were just they just created a lot of stress and anxiety for me. So even as young as 5 and 6 years old, I just struggled a lot with always being not necessarily upset. I didn't cry all the time, but I always, I guess, was burdened by things that were going on around me. So I was not incredibly sickly, but because of my immune system, I really did struggle with a couple of illnesses, and I believe, and a couple of the doctors that I've spoken with also believe, that that's why I ended up getting the chickenpox more than just one time. So I was left with a lot of really bad scars. I don't have any pictures to share with you, not that I'm sure you would want to see them anyway, but they looked really bad, the scars that I had when I got it the second time, and they were all over my back as well. And over time, the scars have slowly faded, but obviously they're still noticeable, which is why I think I get asked this at least once a day on all of my channels. Someone wants to know what the hell is wrong with my face. So there you go, that's the answer. That's what's wrong with my face. There are not freckles, they are not moles, they are not beauty marks. I just had the chickenpox more than once, and I have been left with scars that I doubt will ever fully disappear. So there you go. All right, putting my glasses back on. The next question is, Rabbit, do you prefer PC or consoles? And you know, this I feel like is a debate that you see constantly going on forums or in comment sections of really popular videos. And this may sound like a very safe and neutral answer, but it really is how I feel, that I don't really have a major preference for one over the other. essentially, I consider myself to be primarily a retro gamer in that most of the games that I enjoy or have a strong emotional attachment to are all from the 90s, roughly, and maybe the early 2000s. So I do enjoy a lot of newer games that are released. So in that sense, I guess I prefer the PC because it really does provide a lot of options in terms of customization. So for example, my husband and I, we have Skyrim for both the Xbox 360 as well as for the PC. We got it through Steam when there was a really rockin' sale, and I think it's called the Legendary Edition. I don't know, but we got a really sweet deal on it, and even though I had a lot of fun playing my console version, so playing it on the Xbox 360, in that instance, I prefer the PC version because there are so many mods that you have access to. I feel like it's been easier to tweak things more to your liking. I don't know. So for me, I guess my answer is that it just kind of depends. I think both have their advantages. I know my husband likes console games and consoles in general more than he likes playing games on the PC because for him, he feels like he can play more comfortably. He thinks that it fosters more of like a community setting because you and a bunch of your friends can sit on a couch in front of your TV as opposed to playing on your computer. At most, maybe you only have 2 computers set up in a small area. So he likes consoles. I like them both. I think it just depends on what I'm playing. So for a lot of my retro games, I like playing them on the consoles, but if I can find a PC version, I will go ahead and buy that because with lots of shaders and mods that are being released by communities, there are ways of making it feel fresh and new that you can't necessarily get from playing it on a console. So yeah, there's my really safe, really neutral answer to that question. So you're not going to get any drama from me about that here. Okay, and for our final question of the day, it is Rabbit, what is your least favorite game ever? And to tell you guys the truth, this is the kind of question that I think my answer will vary depending on when you ask me. So I may actually just give you guys 2 answers as a result of the fact that I know my answer has very recently changed. So I, a couple of weeks ago, played Rollo to the Rescue. And if you guys have never seen or heard about that game before, I don't want to even talk about it because I did not remember it being as atrocious as it actually was. The game was way too hard for what it looked like it would be, and it was just a fucking mess. The whole experience was not enjoyable for me. I actually felt stressed out playing this game for the Sega Mega Drive / Sega Genesis. So after playing it, and I played through it, not in its entirety, I didn't unlock like everything 100%, but I beat the game. So I did play through it from start to finish, and it just wasn't fun. I thought the controls were a fucking mess. Like the graphics were really nice, but the music and the sounds in it were just very jarring, and it wasn't what I had recalled it being. So as of right now, and it could be that I'm biased because I just played it and my experience with it was so horrendous that I have to consider it the worst game that I've ever played. Or not the worst game, I guess, but my least favorite. I did not have a good time playing that at all. But if you had asked me this before I had played Rollo, and while I still had my happy-go-lucky memories of the game, you know, playing it with my brother like a long, long time ago, my least favorite game prior to recently playing Rollo would probably be Trag for the PlayStation 1. I don't even want to get into why I dislike Trag so much and why I thought it was such a shit game. I'll just save that for another day. I'm sure lots of people are going to ask me why I hate that game so much. But if you've ever played it, you probably can already figure out why I just fucking despise that game. It's just so bad. And okay, everyone, so those were the 3 questions. There were my 3 answers, and with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up episode number 2 of my questions and answers series. So just to throw it out there once again, if there's anything that you would like to know about me in particular, something that even if you haven't seen has been asked very much, you still feel like it would be interesting to know, absolutely feel free to leave it down below in the form of a comment. Again, you can email me or you can reach me on Facebook. I'm pretty good about responding to all 3 of those avenues of communication. And I think that is all I want to say, just to keep this as brief as possible. So thanks again, everyone. I am Rabbit as always, and I will see you later. Enjoy your day.